A beautiful morning to you and welcome to Quest Today, right here, Quest Television. I am Praise Soje. It is the 25th day in the month of June 2026, and time check already, it's already 5 minutes past 8 a.m. Happy for Manuku right here in the studio, which of course I'll be joining us in a moment. Good morning, Ifi.
Good morning.
Hope you had a great night.
Short though, but yes, thank God. How was yours?
Well, we always have a great night, regardless. Let's
Yeah.
get into the conversation this morning. It's all about so many issues to look into this morning. First, we're taking a look at the Senate passing the state police bill yesterday. Now it's now up to the state houses of assembly around the 36 states in Nigeria to look into the contents of the bill. Also, this morning we're taking a look at what one of the spokesman of Mr. President Bayo Nanuga said about Nigeria. But let's start by letting you know that yesterday the Senate passed a landmark constitutional amendment bill establishing state police services nationwide, marking a major step in Nigeria's long-running efforts to decentralize policing and strengthen internal security. With its passage, the legislation replaces the existing Nigeria Police Force framework with a dual structure comprising a federal police service and state police services. The bill creates a constitutional basis for state policing, including the establishment of state police commissions, while retaining the federal police structure in every state until a state police service becomes operational. Under the new arrangement, the Federal Police Service will be responsible for federal offenses, security within the Federal Capital Territory FCT, national security matters, interstate crimes, and organized criminal activities. Let's take a listen to the Senate as they deliberated on the state police bill.
Yet another historic opportunity for the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to discharge one of its most sacred constitutional responsibilities, the duty to make laws for the peace, order, security, and good governance of our nation. The matter we're about to go into is of profound national importance. It concerns the consideration of a constitutional amendment seeking to provide for the establishment of state police as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen Nigeria's security architecture.
This bill represents one of the most significant constitutional reforms in our nation's democratic evolution. It addresses a long-standing national conversation on the structure, effectiveness, responsiveness, and sustainability of policing in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I think that as part of what we will also pass today is also to make sure that in those aspects of the Constitution, because I've seen 2 or 3, where it says that the president will merely write a letter and take over, or merely write a letter to, no, we think that not just the president, but that power must also be shared with the National Assembly.
Let me say that the amendment that he proposed is already taken care of by clause 13. Clause
Mr.
13, which
President,
is the very next one.
this is totally wrong.
If I have your permission,
we
I
are
will
making
read it.
Those in support of that position say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The next clause.
The eyes had it yesterday, and Senator Egin Nayabaribe was trying to say that it shouldn't just be that the executives will write a letter to the Senate. It should be that the Senate has a role, has a voice in determining the use of police. But then, with both chambers of the National Assembly now backing the proposal, attention has shifted to state assemblies whose approval will determine whether Nigeria finally abandons its long-standing exclusive federal policing structure. The proposed amendment is widely regarded as one of the most consequential constitutional reforms undertaken since the return to democratic rule in 1999. Another key highlight of this new bill is that is the role of the governors. State governors can now appoint the commissioner of police for their state on recommendation of the National Police Council. That's subject to confirmation by the State House of Assembly and the national minimum standards set by the National Assembly. Governors can issue lawful written directives of a general policy nature on public safety and order. Another key component in this new provision is that is what we call the dual policing structure. Yes, contents in the bill reveal that it replaces the centralized Nigerian police force with a federal police service handling. That's at the federal level. There are matters that have been designated to be matters of federal level, matters like counter-terrorism, border security, organized crime, interstate crimes, federal institutions, and the FCT. Then for the state level, they were able to handle matters like focusing on law enforcement, public safety, order, crime prevention, and state law. So these are some of the key components in this new police bill, which all the states' houses of assemblies will have to look into before Mr. President now finally assent to it. We've talked about this, creation of state police, and a lot of Nigerians believe that now is the time. It has taken more than 6 years, if I'm not mistaken. We're talking about the creation of state police. A lot of people have talked about we've talked about the pros and the cons. Even though there are some people that are of the opinion that the cons, are more than the pros, but then there is no doubt that this will bring policing closer to the Nigerian people. So, what do you make of this generally, and then what particular component in this bill really appeals to you?
Well, the ball has already started rolling. It has been passed, and kudos to the lawmakers. We are just being hopeful that we apply. When I mean we, now everybody, Nigerians, we apply caution and apply strategies that we observed were missing in the centralized policing, and try to make it work. Well, the part of the whole thing is the unionism of the Senate. Do you understand? The people who supported that, it just pointed out to me that they have come to that point where they agree that it's a necessity, and I also want them to extend that by the virtue of not using offices to manipulate this state policing. Let them do their job. I'm not saying that they are not going to be part of it. When I say they, now the governors and the other people who may serve as leaders, but let them not use it for their own selfish gains. Let them not use it for manipulation. Let them not use it for intimidation. Let them use it for the sole purpose of bringing calm, security in the nation, and by narrowing it to the states and our local environment. What time other than now?
Yeah, I think I am particularly happy with the fact that governors can appoint commissioners of police. You look at other appointments that governors can make. They can appoint the Attorney General at the state level and other key appointments.
Yeah.
This is something that is needed at this point in time where Nigerians are calling for, proper attention to matters of security. When you look at other climes of the world, for instance, in the US, there is the gun, people can have guns. Of course, something like that cannot happen in Nigeria because you know that there are people
Nigeria
who will abuse that. It is Nigeria. And even though it has its own effects, but this bill will really, really help us as a nation. Because now is a time where we have to permeate into every area of the society, bringing police to the to the grassroots level, because that is where they truly need it.
Exactly.
I mean, terrorist groups cannot say they want to go to Aso Rock. Of course, there are military personnel, military barricades everywhere. They cannot say they want to attack.
They will engage with a very serious fight before.
Exactly. But these are vulnerable people who don't have access to weapons.
Who don't have reasons to fear anything.
Do you understand? So that is why I am so happy that this issue has taken, has come to the fore. And also, it shouldn't just be a mere bill, something that is on paper. There are so many laws in Nigeria that have been passed, that it's just about talking.
Another way of creating another institution and let it just be there.
Let it be that all the operational costs, the logistics part of it, the implementation part of it should be used to the latter. If this bill or once this bill is signed into law, if it must work, it means that all hands must be on deck. All hands must be on deck. The responsibility of governors must now increase by another percentage, because before they will say, we don't have the constitutional power to order police. But you see them when they are going for military campaign, they can carry the police alongside them.
I also have a concern about the fact that governors can appoint. When I heard that, my mind went in so many directions. It is good. We have seen governors who appoint awesome people that did awesomely well. But we have also seen governors who appointed people that you just start asking yourself question, how? Maybe by the means of relationship that they have with the person, or by the means of let me borrow the FCT minister's words, rubbing of back. If you rub my back, I rub your back. And I became worried, because if it's their sole decision to appoint praise, I think I don't know. This is Nigeria.
You're having a second thought about
that.
This
is Nigeria, because I feel that it's something that they are supposed to also have other persons who are going to be attached for them in this appointment. Because if I start appointing people that I want, intimidation, oppression is not far. Because the person will now be answerable to you. Do you understand? Solely to you, because you appointed the person. And if the person didn't dance to your tune, you have every right to appoint another person. So I'm just speaking, the Nigerian lady in me is talking, because we have seen situations where you remember the case of the chairman of INEC and the battle. Nigerians were not cool with it because of his past comments, and they traced him. How can this person be the person who is going to give us free and fair election?
Because he has been cleared.
Yeah, he has been cleared, but I mean, people brought. It was a very hot. It was a very hot issue, rather. So in that issue, Nigerians have this problem and concern of the appointment. Not that it's not done in other climes, but we always have that belief that I'll always appoint my own person. I'll always appoint somebody who I believe is going to be. And he has this feel, for me, this is my opinion, it has this feel of still that, permit me to use the word godfatherism.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I also think the fact that not just that the governor will appoint, but the governor will have to send, the person for a screening. We must look at the bright side of it. The governor appointing,
being optimistic, I agree with
the
you.
governor appointing somebody that he knows can handle. Because like we've repeatedly said, that when you want to appoint or bring in police officers, you are bringing people who understand the terrain.
Yeah.
So I believe people that will man that role as commissioners of police across state level will be people who are, number one, indigenes. Understand?
Who are knowledgeable.
Who are knowledgeable about the terrain. They know all the nook and crannies of of the state. That will enable this state police thing to work. But let's take a breather. We'll be right back. When we return, of course, we'll take you straight to what Bayo Onanuga has said about the state of the nation, saying that he doesn't see hunger anywhere. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. It's still Quest today, right here, Quest Television, and before the break, we talked about the Senate passing the state police bill, and joining us this morning on the program is Misha Koza. Good morning, Misha.
Very wonderful morning.
Yes. Just very quickly, in a minute or two, your thoughts on the issue of the Senate passing the state police bill.
Well, it's a good one, no doubt. I mean, it's always been an agitation that's been going on for over a decade, and political will to move it forward and legislative will to pass it has not been there. And, so be it. It's already done, but not yet dusted, because there are extant rules. Because if we don't give them a constitutional guideline, it becomes exploitative by governors and their co-leaders, and maybe are members of the House of Assembly, the political elite in their states. So I think they need to be guided constitutional guidelines that has to be followed, like the president does follow to appoint the Inspector General of Police. And with that, it should be done along line with the expectations of the people. And I believe with this one, security will be easier tackled. Security challenges, we know who to direct more of our shouts.
We know we can call the governors.
But however, there are some fears though, because before you know it now, ethnicism will come out when in the appointment of commissioners, they will now start talking about rotational commissioner and so many politics and emotions and ethnicity is going to come into this. But I think we should set a standard. We should look at professionalism. Let it follow hierarchy in whether you are from an ethnic group or you are from Delta North, Delta South, or Delta Central, for example. It's irrelevant because it will cause a lot of bad blood if we bring ethnicity into policing. And you might see this, before you know it, they will not say there should be 3 different police commissioners, for example, and Delta North commissioner, Delta South commissioner, Delta Central commissioner. Nothing is impossible in this country. So we need to, there should be constitutional guideline towards affirming who becomes a commissioner, and there should be restriction of the usage of force or power by the executive governor. Should follow the legislative process.
All right. Well said. Well said.
You know what he said reminded me of the autonomous rulership in our communities. We don't have, this one is for these people.